Hello, welcome to Kathy's Corner. My name is Kathy Holt. I am a partner and trainer with Stewardship Resources, LLC. PowerChurch Plus is a fund accounting program. So today I would like to answer the question, what's the difference between a fund accounting program and a normal business accounting program such as Quickbooks? In a normal business accounting program such as Quickbooks, designated funds will need to be tracked through liability accounts. All of the income and expense transactions will close to one equity account, and that equity account is only updated at year end. The designated transactions to designated income, designated expenses will not show on an income and expense statement because they're being tracked through liability accounts. Now, in a fund accounting program, there are several differences. So the first thing I want to explain is what is the definition of fund in fund accounting. The definition is not a bank account. A fund is a separate set of chart of accounts. So if you set up separate funds in a fund accounting program, like in my example here, you're going to have a fund for your general fund or your general budget. So in this fund or this chart of accounts, you can track your unrestricted income and how that was spent, your net income, your net loss, keep track of your budget that way. You could also set up a separate fund, separate set of chart of accounts for missions and be able to print separate financial reports just for the missions activity of your church. You can also set up a separate fund, separate set of chart of accounts for all of your other designated funds and keep track of all of your income and expenses through that. Print separate income and expense reports, balance sheets just for your designated fund activity. If you have like a daycare or a preschool type situation at your church, you can set up a separate fund, separate chart of accounts, just to track the activity of that school. Are you losing money? Making money? It's a whole lot easier to track what's going on in there if you can print separate financial reports just for that. So that's another one of the differences. So one of the biggest differences in a fund accounting program is you can set up multiple equity accounts. So you can, in my example over here, notice we have a missions fund equity. Now I have the missions fund pointed to the missions fund because think we're going to set up a separate fund, separate chart of accounts for our missions. So in here, we would have an equity account just for our missions fund. We're going to have an income account, any income accounts associated with our missions fund, any expense accounts associated with our missions fund. And the difference here is all of our missions fund expense lines, we can have it automatically close into our missions fund equity account. All of our missions fund incomes, we can have it automatically close into our missions fund equity account. Now, one of the advantages of a fund accounting program is you don't have to wait till year end for that equity account to update so you know the balance. Every time you code something to the income or expense, it automatically closes into that equity account. So your balance is updated every time you make a transaction. So let's look at the other example for youth trips fund. Think about if you have somebody in your church that they're in charge of the youth trips. So you have a youth trips fund equity. So every time something comes in, money comes in for your youth trips and it's coded to that income account, you can set it to automatically increase this youth trips fund equity. Anytime the expenses are coded for that trip, you can set up the youth trips fund expense to automatically close into the youth trips fund equity. So if that person that's in charge of the youth trips, they call you and say, how much do I have in my youth trips fund? As long as your transactions are updated in PowerChurch, you can automatically tell them. You can print other reports. That is very handy to them. And in my next video, I'm going to be talking a little bit more detail on the reports you can print with that setup. But this just kind of shows you kind of the main difference between a fund accounting program and a regular accounting program, what you can, what you can't do. So the bottom line is how does a fund accounting program benefit a church? So when you're trying to determine what accounting program is better for me, that's a good question to be asked, right? All right, so the bottom line is you can print separate financial reports for each fund in a fund accounting program, and using separate equity accounts, track those designated fund balances throughout the year, which means if you're tracking designated funds manually using like an Excel spreadsheet or some other manual means, that's no longer needed. Let the program do it for you. Designated income and expense totals will show on designated fund income and expense statements because you can track them in a way other than just through a liability. If you're interested in learning more about planning a chart of accounts for PowerChurch Plus, check out some of the helpful resources that I've got in the links below. It was a pleasure sharing this information with you today. And as always, if you have any questions or you need help, you are more than welcome to contact me at the phone number or email listed below. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. And until next time, God bless you and have a fantastic day.